In the previous video, I showed you how to create a Trello board which listed a range of resources that could be used under each of the keyword headings or research focus questions that you had. This video is going to show you how to start taking notes from those resources. So on the right we have here our Trello board. So the assumption is that you've collected maybe 8 or 9 different resources that you're going to use. So now that you've got those websites, we're going to go in and look at things a little bit more deeply. So on the left here, I've just got a Word document open with some of the keyword headings that I want to use in my report. Now, you could use focus questions if you want to. I tend to prefer to use keyword headings. So the idea is that we have our document open, and as we go through the resources that we have curated, if we find information that's relevant to that specific part of the topic, we can jot that information down over here. Now, one of the other suggestions, and this is a really great strategy to use with your own students in school, is because you're going to be looking at 3 or 4 different resources, to help you identify where you got that information from if you color code it. So as you're reading through, again, you skim and scan through to find the information that's relevant to you. So there's quite a bit of background information there about the history of the naming of them and so on, which you may or may not want to use. Here's our description. Like other right whales, the southern right is readily distinguished from others by the calicites on its head. So you can, okay, so that little bit of information there can go into the description. You could just rewrite it down in dot points if you wish to, but that at this stage I'm just going to pick out certain little sections. Now I'm going to color code that orange so that I know that everything that is in orange is from this particular website, which is Wikipedia. So as you go through and you find information, adult, female, so there's a little bit about how much they weigh, etc. I'm going to put that in here as well. Now, obviously, when you come to write this, you would just pick out the specific bits of information and not copy and paste it word for word. But at this stage, it's just giving you a little bit of background information. So the idea is that you would actually go through the whole of the website. So here's some information on the population. So there's my section on population. So if I read here, migrates north in winter for breeding and can be seen by the coasts of Argentina. And so that would be part of my migration. So we can pop that in. Now, rather than its location, I'm actually going to make that migration as well. So you can see as you go and you get more and more information, you can modify what it is that you're doing. Okay, so I would go through the whole of that website and pick out all of the relevant bits that I want. Obviously, there's information there that may not be useful for your report. Don't put everything down. Just pick out the things specifically that you want to find the answers to. Okay, New Zealand, so there's a lot of local information there. Whaling, so that would possibly be causes of declining population, so you can read through there and get the information that you want. Conservation, that would come under protective measures, laws and regulations. Is protected by all countries, so you could just put that in. And again, because it's from that same source, we're going to make that one orange. Okay, so when you've finished getting that information, you can then go to your next source of information. So if we go back to our Trello board, we can then link off to another website. Whoops. And we would repeat the same process. But this time, obviously, we would use a different source. Now, I also suggest, and I didn't mention this in the references, that you would put that link to your Wikipedia. You can either do the full APA now, or put the link and make it orange. So again, as you're going through, hopefully you'll have 5 or 6 different colors that show the various notes that you've used. Okay, so this one is the World Wildlife Fund. Again, you would read through the information, find out what's being done. Now, because this is World Wildlife Fund, chances are there's going to be much more information about protective measures and so on. There's stats there, so again you might want to put that information up in the description or population. So here we've got around 10,000, so we can put that in here, 10,000. Now remember, some of the information may be different on different sites, and I'm going to change the color of that to distinguish the fact that I've got that from a different source. So you might go to 3 different websites and the information might be slightly different. Then you will need to determine which information you think is the most authoritative source. Okay, distribution. So we can copy this bit here, distribution, into location, migration. And we're going to make that one green as well, and so on. So you end up with a composite of lots of information from different sources. Then you can go back and synthesize or put that information together. And obviously, if it's been confirmed in 3 or 4 sources of information, then it is probably going to be fairly accurate. If you've got huge discrepancies in the information, as I said, you're probably going to want to rely perhaps more on a government website than you would if it's a commercial website. So this is where you need to be very, very discerning in the sources of information that you get. So by the end of this process, you should have gone through 6 or 7 at least websites, reports, sources of information, and have a composite picture, maybe 5 or 6 different colors here. Once you've done that, put the websites away and then go back and read through the information, and then get a sense of the flow that you want your information to be, and that's when you would actually start to put it into paragraphs and write it into your own words. If you don't have enough information, you may need to go back and curate some more sources of information. Don't forget also, on here you might want to just put in some of the infographics or tables as well as you're going, and again put the source where you got them from. That kind of information will also be very, very useful for your final reports. Okay, so this is a very simple and effective synthesizing process that again is really powerful, and you can use that with your students in primary school as well. But it just allows you to capture lots of information at once. Remember to skim and scan through the website to find the specific information to answer your questions. Okay, good luck.